everyone, and welcome to another mental health story time brought to you by the Children's Book Bank. My name is Jialin, and my pronouns are she, her, and this week's storytime theme is on self-esteem. So self-esteem is a topic that we also explored a month or two ago, and because it's so important, we're bringing it back again this week and taking another look at it. So what is self-esteem? Well, it's pretty much how you feel about yourself. So if you have pretty high self-esteem, you might think things like, I deserve love, I deserve to be respected, I have value as a human being. And if you have pretty low self-esteem, then you might think the opposite things from what I just said. So it's pretty important that, we have a healthy self-esteem, that sometimes even when we make errors or we get embarrassed because we did a silly mistake, it's important to still recognize and believe that yes, we still deserve to be respected and we still have value as people, and that's never going to go away, right? So the two books that this week that we will be reading are You Hold Me Up, and we see two people on the cover. Flip it around and we see a mother with her child. And the second book is What Do You Do with an Idea? And we see this little boy looking down at this strange golden egg, and we're not really sure what that is yet, but we will figure out and see. So these are the two books that we will take a look at, and they do a really good job at exploring the idea of self-esteem and just personal value. So I'm really excited to read these two with you today. So let's get started. Alright, so the first book that we will be looking at is called You Hold Me Up by Monique Grace-Smith and Danielle. And when I was skimming through the book, there was an author's note at the end, and I think it described the purpose of this book really well. So I'm just going to go to the back really quickly and read that first, because it was also a really meaningful message. So I'm just going to read that. In Canada, we have a long history of legislation and policies that have affected the wellness of Indigenous children, families, and communities. One of the most impactful was Indian residential boarding schools. For over 150 years, Indigenous children, First Nations, Métis, and Inuit, as young as 5, were taken from their families, communities, and cultures and placed in residential schools. At these schools, abuse was rampant. The children were separated from their siblings, forbidden to speak their own languages or practice their culture, often fed little or rotten food, and were denied basic necessities. With this book, we are embarking on a journey of healing and reconciliation. I wrote it to remind us of our common humanity and the importance of holding each other up with respect and dignity. I hope it is a foundational book for our littlest citizens, a book that encourages dialogue among children, their families, their care providers, and their educators. At its heart, it is a book about love, building relationships, and fostering empathy. With respect and love, Monique Grace-Smith. So that was a beautiful message, and even looking at the cover art, we see two people touching foreheads, and they seem to be, feeling peaceful, feeling calm, and just like the author said, this book is really about fostering empathy, about respecting one another, about holding one another up. So the title describes that quite well. And with that, let's get started. And this book was written in the spirit of reconciliation and is dedicated to the children, families, and staff of Aboriginal Head Start programs. And so that's by the author. You hold me up when you're kind to me. When you share with me. When you learn with me. You hold me up when you play with me. when you laugh with me, when you sing with me, you hold me up when you comfort me, when you listen to me, when you respect me, you hold me up. I hold you up. We hold each other up. And those are the creators of the book and the author's note. So even though it was, a short book, it had a deep, deep message. And, in many things that we do, even in our daily tasks, like when we're just cooking or when we're being creative and we're like singing or playing games or creating art, when we're just sitting with one another and listening to one another, there are so many opportunities to respect each other, to hold each other up, and to really be empathetic and listen to one another. So I hope this book does lead you to reflect on how you can hold other people up, other people that are close to you, like your family and your friends, how you think other people help hold you up, and how we can thank others for doing so, and just be reminded of the community that we surround ourselves with. So the second book is a little bit different. It's called What Do You Do with an Idea? Written by Kobi, Yamada, and illustrated by May Besom. And this one also has a theme of self-esteem, but as we read it, you'll start to understand why it's a little bit different from the first book. And this is also one of my favorite picture books, so I hope you enjoy it. What do you do with an idea? One day I had an idea. Where did it come from? Why is it here, I wondered. What do you do with an idea? And it seems like from the image that the idea is this little yellow egg that this young boy is looking down at. At first, I didn't think much of it. It seemed kind of strange and fragile. I didn't know what to do with it, so I just walked away from it. I acted like it didn't belong to me. But it followed me. I worried what others would think. What would people say about my idea? I kept it to myself. I hid it away and didn't talk about it. I tried to act like everything was the same as it was before my idea showed up. But there was something magical about my idea. I had to admit, I felt better and happier when it was around. It wanted food. It wanted to play. Actually, it wanted a lot of attention. It grew bigger, and we became friends. The little boy is carrying his idea in the backpack. I showed it to other people even though I was afraid of what they would say. I was afraid that if people saw it, they would laugh at me. I was afraid they would think it was silly. And many of them did. They said it was no good. They said it was too weird. They said it was a waste of time and that it would never become anything. And at first, I believed them. I actually thought about giving up on my idea. I almost listened to them. But then I realized, what do they really know? This is my idea, I thought. No one knows it like I do. And it's okay if it's different and weird and maybe a little crazy. I decided to protect it, to care for it. I fed it good food, I worked with it, I played with it, but most of all, I gave it my attention. My idea grew and grew, and so did my love for it. I built it a new house, one with an open roof where it could look up at the stars, a place where it could be safe to dream. I liked being with my idea. It made me feel more alive, like I could do anything. It encouraged me to think big, and then to think bigger. It shared its secrets with me. It showed me how to walk on my hands, because, it said, it is good to have the ability to see things differently. I couldn't imagine my life without it. Then one day, something amazing happened. My idea changed right before my very eyes. It spread its wings, took flight, and burst into the sky. I don't know how to describe it, but it went from being here to being everywhere. It wasn't just a part of me anymore. It was now a part of everything. And then I realized what you do with an idea. You change the world. So that's the end of the book. And even when we go back to the very beginning, everything was in black and white, and the only thing in color was the idea. And progressively during the book and at the end of the book, everything is in color now. So that's a really neat detail about the book. And the ending pages. And so let's take a moment to think about how this book was different from the other book and how it also reflects the theme of self-esteem. So with the first book, that was really about respecting yourself as a human being and respecting others as human beings. But this book was really about taking a product, something that you create, and respecting, your ideas, because as they're your own ideas, they're also extensions of yourself in a way. So the description at the end of the book also describes it pretty well. So I'll read it out loud. What do ideas become? Big things, brave things, smart things, silly things, good things. Things like stories, artwork, journeys, inventions, communities, products, and cures. Everything you see around you was once an idea. So what will become of your idea? Now that's up to you. And that's really the essence of this book. Throughout the book, although the little boy was hesitant, he was scared of what others would think, he thought about giving up, but he didn't. He kept going, and at the end, the main character realized you can change the world with your idea if you keep trying. So that wraps it up. I hope you enjoyed the 2 books that we read together today. I hope the first book inspires you to think back on the important things in life, like your relationships with your close friends and family. And I hope the second book inspires you to really be brave and believe in your ideas even if other people might think that they're silly, because as long as you believe in it and you keep trying hard, then that's what matters most. So enjoy the weather outside. It's getting really warm, and we'll see each other next week. Bye.